So as we continue the conversation, we shift our focus to exactly where Asia travels next, looking at things from an industry perspective to get a deeper look at the major trends and insights shaping the future of our business. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Fazal Bahardeen, CEO of CrescentRating HalalTrip, Mr. Justin Ong, Regional Manager of Middle East and APAC HBX, and Mr. Mayur Patel, Commercial Sales and Industry Affairs Leader Asia Pacific, Middle East and Africa OAG. Let's give a round of applause, everyone.
Yes, we were waiting for the photos to come so that we can sit properly. When I sent first email to Mac, he said I'm on the way to Joburg. Then I sent the next email. He says I'm in, what's the city in Botswana? Gaborone. And the next reply came when he was on the way to Singapore, probably. Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today. These two gentlemen don't require a lot of introduction. They are veterans in the industry. I had a few questions. It's actually, as a part of the release of our Asia Pacific Outbound Travel Report. I think let's start with Mac. I think hopefully things will get better. They're supposed to sign peace deals tomorrow, I don't know, or today. They signed already. Already signed. But even before that, there was this talk of the airline. I mean, Mac is a veteran in the airline industry. The airline capacity was coming back, and that was the talk. But I think I heard Mac was there in Korea when somebody talked about that, and you asked about seat capacity as well. Whether there is a disconnect between airlines coming back and then and the seat capacity as well. So if you can elaborate a bit here.
Yeah, correct. So seat capacity is forward-looking. So it's more of a signal for demand. So airlines usually would not put any capacity back if they don't see the signals that there's demand generating. So I think a classic example was post-COVID. So we had fragmented approach in terms of how the borders were reopening. That's because of government policies and so forth. So we did see Asia Pacific lagging behind in that area. So I think when you look at airlines bringing back capacity now, it's all about looking forward, and then you know that there's strong demand in certain parts of the sectors or regions and so forth. And that drives a lot of the demand and the micro segmentation within that. So, and I think what we've seen over the past few years is that there's a traveler segmentation shift, especially with the Gen Z. Their needs are very different to the way we probably traveled when we were much younger. There's low-cost carriers that have come into the system. And that's created new city pairs that you can fly to different parts of the world directly rather than going through a connection. And 10, 15 years ago, if you were to tell someone, where are you actually inspiring to going to, they'll probably say Thailand, Indonesia, Bali, and so forth. Now you're going to a lot of exotic destinations that you've never heard of. Right? So if you listen to the young people when they talk, they're looking at new inspirations in terms of travel. It's a very different shift in the way we think and so forth. So airlines have to manage their capacity, the way they order their fleet. Is it the single aisle, double aisle, the frequency that they want to actually go into those city pairs and so forth. So I think capacity tends to be very important when we look at signals from whether it's a destination part, hotel development, so you're looking at investments that's going into a destination, and what sort of symbiotic relation you have within the industry ecosystem is very important.
Thanks, Mac. Maybe now you can introduce a little bit about your work.
Well, myself, So I'm actually heading up the commercial sales and industry affairs at OAG, so looking after quite a big region. So it goes from Asia Pacific, Middle East, and Africa. So we provide a lot of thought leadership, especially during COVID period, when things were down. People used to contact us to say, look, what's going to be happening? When are things going to recover? And so that's where we give a lot of thought leadership data. So whether it's schedules data, flight status data, or airline pricing data. So we cover the travel intelligence aspect of the industry at large.
Thanks, Mac. Justin, before I ask you a question about your work that you do.
Sure. I'm Justin from HBX Group, and then I take care of partnerships in Middle East as well as APAC. So very similar in Mac, but more on the hotel sides of distribution. So a lot of the work taking care of it is into like making sure that the supply and the demand are met. And in the sense of HBX Group, as one of the biggest distributor in the world of hotel rooms, activities, and tours, we actually do a lot of that to make sure that there is the right path when there's more efforts being taken across flights, corridors, we call them. So that's connectivity in terms of the supply and the demand. So people could actually travel there. There's actually enough supply to meet the demand, or we're generating the demand to push into the supply as well.
I think that brings me to my question, Justin. So I think we talked a little bit about that earlier as well. You know, how does HBX treat, or do you treat different markets differently? You know, taking into account their nuances when you supply to your distributors. How do you sort of cater to different markets?
Yeah, we do that a lot in the sense that we have a presence in every place that we have, and there's always the few target priorities market. So for us, taking care of Middle East and APAC, Middle East is a huge growing market in terms of the destination, and also outbound, I put it that way in a sense. And obviously in Asia, we all know like Japan is very important, everyone likes to go there as well. So we make sure that we have a presence there. Localization is a very key part of it. And when I say localization, it's not so much of a broad-based Middle East APAC strategy. We don't slap on something and say like Asia, and then everything's the same. Or we do a translation and then think that everything is sorted out. But it's more like really putting boots on the ground to really understand the needs of the market, how the suppliers work, how the payment systems work, or even back on the other side, what the demands are. Because when you look at a traveler from our side on B2B that we are working with the distributors and partners on, it's very different. A millennial in Shanghai is different from an ultra high net worth client from the Middle East, which is very different from a family coming from Malaysia. But if you look at it, technically, they're all in the same continent. But that doesn't mean that that's just it, it's Asia. But they're all very different travelers, subset in a sense. Yeah.
Thanks, Justin. Coming back to Max, so I think we are now, hopefully we are getting back some of the airline capacity. Do you think we will go back to the same hub and spoke kind of, the major hubs, or are we going to see more sort of corridors kind of airline capacities, And also, how is that going to impact us in Asia Pac, specifically probably this region, in terms of both inbound and outbound?
Yeah, the hubs will stay because the hubs provide that network contribution. So that's your connectivity piece. So that's going to be intact. So a lot of people talk about hub busters. Aircraft technology is gaining pace where you can get long haul, non-stop flights. We'll probably see it's in 2027. Qantas will start Sydney, London non-stop. About 22 hours, so that's going to shave off something like 4 hours from your total flying time. But if you look at the region itself, you still need to have different connectors through the hubs to get into secondary and tertiary destinations that may not be feasible from a demand perspective just yet. That grows over a period of time. So when airlines launch a network or destination, generally they would go about 3 times a week. Then they'll get a good hold of the demand and they'll increase that up to 5. Then it would go daily from there. So I think you've got to have that hub and spoke because of the network contribution that comes from other parts of the source market that comes into, say, an example would be Singapore. and then you distribute those passengers in Singapore, and then you connect them out to other parts into secondary markets out there. Non-stops do work if you've got smaller aircraft. So you've seen aircraft manufacturers like Embraer that's come in and said, look, there may not be a sufficient demand for narrow-body aircraft with 180 seats. You might want to get a smaller aircraft, E-Jet, as they call them, that may have 90 to 100 seats, and then you start off with that initially. And as the demand grows, you can actually scale upgauge your aircraft type accordingly. And that has an impact on the way the travelers travel and the way, as what Justin was saying, no one traveler is alike in the region. So there's different frequencies that you've got to add. Some will go point to point, some will connect through, and you've got to just have that range of frequencies in your scheduling at the destination. That's going to be very important.
Thanks, Mac. Coming back to the same kind of disruption that we have had, Justin, so how has the disruption impacted this part of the world, and how do you see it recovering? Has it been good? Like, we heard Malaysia saying, it was a boon for them that all the visitors who were going to Middle East, chose Malaysia. So how is that?
So back to that conversation, I think we had this conversation in Korea as well. It is booming actually for our HBX and our business. Actually, it has grown a lot tremendously even the last few months, but there has been shifts, I think. Obviously, there are some non-tourism related factors that happened early in the year that created such a shift, but the shift is something that we are being agile. I think that's important in any business and possibly in any destination as well if it's doable. So we do see a shift of like when crisis happened in March, as we know, in the Middle East, we focus and switched a little bit more into crisis travel that we're seeing a lot, supporting a lot of people who are in the Middle East who needs a hotel, who needs to move around, who needs to travel about. That's one part of it. But not forgetting the thousands and millions of travelers outside of Middle East who are looking to connect their flights or travel around or go back home as well. So they also needed the help with trying to work with this crisis. So that's one part. But shortly after that was very short-lived, but shortly after that, it did move into more focus into how can we recover. So right now we're working on a recovery plan more for Middle East, how it's going to bring it back tourism, not just tourism, for business as well. But then there's also more emphasis going into APAC. So I said, yes, the growth is happening, and the good, lucky thing is that we are based in APAC. We are focusing on that right now. And there's a lot more shift into APAC on like where people are going, what kind of experiences are the travelers looking for. And it's no longer the same kind of travel that Mac mentioned. People will be looking to go to Bali, people looking to go to Thailand, Bangkok. Those are very easy destinations, but they're looking to travel longer. They're looking to travel a little bit more with intent, to actually understand a destination, to try the different food. No longer it's about, I want to go shopping. I want to go duty-free. Because duty-free and anything you want to buy, you could buy it online right now today, right? But there's more like, I want to go learn how to cook Thai food. I want to go relax and do something and learn a new skill. So that's our things that we are seeing the travelers looking for. And that's the shift and the growth where it's happening.
Max, so I mean, this is coming back, do you see, we're talking about experiential travel and, new destinations, people want to explore new destinations, especially younger people. So do you see this same sort of data sets in your airline industry? Are they going to, other airlines opening up new routes to tier 2, tier 3 cities? Probably not the time, but how do you reflect this new younger travelers wanting new experiences?
Yeah, I think with social media, people have, they inspire, or there's an inspiration to travel to new places. They want to experience new things, right? In the old days, it was a Lonely Planet guidebook that we used to get from the bookshop. Now it's all available online, and you can inspire for different experiences. It's what Justin said, it's not about shopping, it's all about experiences that you get at destination. And you've got different types of travelers, or just generation. There's 5 distinct generation group out there at the moment. So it goes all the way from young generation, so I mean the older generation, so they were the pioneer era, so they're about anywhere from 80 plus years old, and some of them are quite fit to travel, so including my own parents, right? They're in that age bracket, so they still travel, they go to different places. Then you've got generation that's baby boomers, X, Y, Z, and each traveler profile is very different from each other. So you've got to cater to each one very separately. And again, that's all about experiences, the preferences, and so forth. So I think the way we move forward, then you've got generation A that we've got to worry about now. What does that look like? So these are the new kids on the block that we've got to actually, as marketers or as destination, how do we attract them into our ecosystem and then influence them to say, okay, this is what you like to do. Is it about community tourism? How do we cater to that, and how do we package that across? So there's a lot of distribution aspect to that, and social media as well as electronic distribution has allowed us to be more agile in terms of our outreach and so forth.
Justin, we talked, earlier as well, these hotels also need to tell their stories properly and, experiential travel. They're not coming for, as you said, retail and shopping and beaches. So how does HBX enable hotels to do that,
So we work on it on a few different ways. Obviously, just now we also mentioned marketing is one part. The other part is educating, right? So educating comes in two forms, is educating the hotel and also educating the customers, which is a little bit of marketing, put it that way. So local nuances, just now I talked about localization. It's very crucial, especially in today's world where we were talking about AI earlier. AI is out there, but how can it be available to you, to what you want and what you need instead of just there? Because it might not necessarily apply to everybody. So I put it in the sense of a local nuance. An Indonesian family, an Emirati luxury travel, and a Malaysian solo Gen Z travelers, they might have the same faith, but they have very different travel ceilings, different budgets, very different travel patterns. So you are not looking to, like, as a travel product, be like, okay, we're talking about halal travel as well. We want to target halal travel, let's just do this. And you're gonna get all three of them. It doesn't work that way a little bit. It has to be a little bit more localized, but also to the point of the nuance that are to their specific market segment that they're actually interested in, because they have different price budgets and all. So that's a little bit of what we are doing right now at HBX Group in terms of understanding and segmenting the customers on what their needs are. So one of the latest thing we came up with last year was actually called the Luxuries. Luxury travel has been up and up and up the last few years or months, as everywhere know, because it is no longer a luxury in a sense, I would call it. It's more of an experience. People are looking for more experiences to purchase and buy than just trying to just buy products, just buy a bag, just buy something. So like Mac mentioning, even for airlines, you see a lot of people buying business class tickets, first class tickets. These are not your usual travel trends, but this is an experience for them that they want to feel, and they've been doing that. And that's what we've been working on to make sure that the segments are right, it's available for distribution, and there's education and understanding to it.
Thanks. As we are running close to our time, just a quick question to both of you, and start with Max. How long do you think we'll go back to pre-conflict levels, and what are the signs that we need to look at?
Depends on what conflict we're talking about.
We're always in conflict.
We're always in conflict. So geopolitics is always there, right? So it's something that the way I phrase is we've become so agile to all these environmental factors. So I think we've become more agile as an industry. So we are able to adapt and be able to respond. And as technology, I think there's a big emphasis on technology, because technology provides signals, whether it's booking data, search data, the intent data that passengers are thinking about. That's getting closer and closer. So the window from the booking window has shortened out. And I think how we react to that shortened booking window is very important for us to understand what travelers are thinking, and how do we respond to that as an industry. And the other bit is we're not homogeneous. We have to look at micro segmentation. So understanding each segment very differently and cater to different products and services along the way.
Thanks, Mike. Justin?
On my side, I think crisis happens all the time. It comes in different forms. We have gone through quite a few in the last few years already. But on the take of it is that I think it always happens. Travels come back, everything is returning on what we're trying to think about when people forget. It's not so much of like when a treaty is signed or something happens or there's a new boom or something, but it's when people forget the crisis. So topics changes all the time. Truthfully, I think we all forget a lot very quickly. Travelers will be back very soon. And definitely there's shifts all around, and we just need to monitor where the shifts are, take the opportunity, and I think it's definitely going to be very beneficial for all of us.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks a lot for your insights.
Much, Mr. Fazal, Mr. Justin, and Mr. Mayur for sharing those perspectives and guiding us through the key findings presented today.